Alright guys, welcome to another episode of TIR Insights where I go through the latest news, updates and new developments in the market. Now, sorry for the hiatus, but I'm finally back to give you all the insights for an upcoming development. And today, we are going to be talking about this new development known as the Sand. So here's what we're going to be covering today. Number one, I'll be sharing with you the project information, lightning fire style. I'll be sharing with you interesting facts about the Sand and its location. We'll be taking a look at a floor plan analysis to see, based on each unit type, what are the pros and cons and which one should you go for depending on the variations available. Also, we must talk about the pricing analysis using a past, present, future framework. And of course, at the end, I'll share with you reasons why I will buy or maybe will not buy the Sand. Hey guys, before we move on to the rest of the video, do you see the like button over there? It seems a bit lonely, right? Do me a favor, like this video. It is totally free and it does help me to grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. So first, let's look at the project information for the Sand. Now this development was bought by Sustain Land for a top bid at $841 PSF PPR for this GLS size. Now one of the interesting things is that this is one of the cheapest land bid prices for such a price location in Singapore of Bukit Timah. Now, when we take a look at the bidders, there were only 2 bidders for this particular plot of land, and Sustain Land actually paid 21% higher than the next highest bidder. So, this is where I usually compare, right, how much the highest bidder bid compared to the second bidder. 21% seems pretty high if you ask me based on this, but we shouldn't just look at this, right? To really decide, did Sustain Land overpay? That's the question that if you stay tuned in this video, I'll be sharing with you as well. So Sustain Land might be slightly new to some of you who are watching this video right now. So Sustain Land, just to share with you, even though it might not be a big brand name developer, they have actually been established in 2006 and they've built more than 20 developments in Singapore with over 3,400 homes built. And I just want to show you some of the more popular developments that Sustain Land have built. So we look at their portfolio. They have built properties like Sky Everton, One Mayor, 3 Cascaden, Sturdy Residences, Coastline Residences, Trey Residences, The Poils. So it's a huge portfolio that they've built ever since 2006. So if you log on to the URA website, alright, and if you go in Google where the land plot is, which is the Souza Avenue GLS, you will notice that it is in the Bukit Timah planning area. And more importantly, there's going to be 5 blocks of 10-story residential building with a total of 347 units, including a child care center. Now, this is going to be very important because if you've met me before for a one-to-one consultation, you know that one of the criteria that I look at when it comes to looking at properties to look at is that I want to make sure the property attracts families, or what I call family-oriented condominiums. And this is one of the good signs to see where there's a childcare center. But of course, we need to double check as well with one more important factor to see whether or not this development will attract families. Next, looking deeper, we can see that the maximum GFA of this particular plot of land is 30,793 meters square. And the childcare center needs to comprise at least 500 meters square. So that's pretty big. We're talking about almost 5,000 over square feet just dedicated to the childcare center itself. So just looking at the simple math, right? If we look at the maximum GFA the developer can build, which is 30,793 square meters, minus the childcare space that they need to allocate, which is 500 square meters, the remaining space that the developer can use to build the condominium units is 30,293 square meters, which means, based on this number, the maximum allowable units the developer can build is 356 units based on the URA 85 square meter average. But because they're only building 347 units, you know that this developer isn't out there to just eat you up and maximize profit margins. They are building a development catered to the lifestyle and the audience that they are targeting. So all these are good signs if you ask me. Some general development info, you can see that because this is going to be a 10-story development and there are some greenery spots around the location, the developer has allocated the blocks towards the facing of the north side, which you're going to be looking at parts of the Bukit Timah Nature Reserve and looking at even the car park blocks, right? Very important nowadays. The number of units we are talking about is 347 and you have 347 car park lots as well. A 1:1 allocation, which if you ask me is super attractive because there are developments in the OCR, for example, a condominium in Tengah, which I will not name, there's less than 1:1. In fact, almost 50% car park lots only. Next, let's look at some interesting facts about the sand and why this is a development that is going to add a certain element of character into this particular location at the Souza. So first, if we take a look at this particular location at the Souza, you can see that the orange one is the sand, the purple allocated one is Verdale and Hilford. So the purple ones are the current resale developments in the market in this particular location. You can see that based on the zoning, the sand is going to be the highest development in this particular cluster, twice the height of what's available. So you can only guess because of this, the sand is going to have beautiful greenery views that you can see. So for example, if you're looking at the south, on the 10th floor, this is some of the views that you can get to enjoy. You're actually towering all the resale listings in the current market, including of course the landed estate that you're right beside. Next, if you are facing towards kind of like the northeastern side on the 10th floor, this is kind of the view. You have a very nice unblocked greenery view, more unblocked greenery views right from other blocks as well, also facing towards the northern side. Next thing about the sand, right, is that this plot of land used to be the old Bukit Batok Primary School. And if you ask me, there really is some sense of nostalgia because this used to be my primary school. I remember going to school via the school bus, all right, and this was the plot of land that I built my childhood, made friends, played catching during the recess periods. So yeah, looking at this development now becoming the stand, there is a sense of nostalgia, and I'm very sure because the Bukit Timah Primary School, it was basically two different primary schools, Bukit Batok East and Bukit Batok West combining together, and they combined in the year of 1984. There will be other students, for example, like myself, who might really have that sense of nostalgia and they might have this, emotional connection to the sand as well. We look also in this particular location that there's multiple land plots available for sale. So what is the benefit of all of this is that as the land plots are sold, right, logically speaking, most land plots in Singapore are always sold higher than the previous land plot, right? Even if it's sold at the same price, we must understand that over time, the construction cost does increase, which all of this acts as price support for you. Now, the last thing you want is to be the final plot of land in any particular location because that creates more risk during your entry into this particular location. So now we talk about some confirmation factors. So what do I mean? Just now I shared with you that the sand must have a childcare center which kind of inclines towards being a family-oriented condo. But what is a confirmation factor is to look at the unit mix. So if you can see on the screen right now, you will see that 1 and 2 bedrooms only contribute to about 51%. The larger unit types 3 and 4 bedders contribute to about 49%. So I would say it's a good 50-50 mix. Now this is a very good thing because what does this mean? This is going to tend to attract more families to come into this area, which supports the childcare center attribute that this development has. So all this to me points towards a family-oriented condo, which is definitely something that I love to see when choosing condominiums. Now let's look at some floor plan analysis. So first, let's look at the 2 bedrooms. So for 2 bedrooms over here, they only have bed 2 baths and there are 3 different configurations that you can look at for the 2 bed 2 baths. We have B1, B2 and B3. Now B1, let's take a look at B1 first. As I move the cursor, you can see that for B1 in particular, 678 square feet, you have 2 bathrooms, 2 bedrooms, no corridor space at the entrance, but you have that kind of standard corridor near the bedrooms area. To me, relatively efficient use of space. We have type B2. this is where you have a open concept kitchen compared to B1, which is a closed concept kitchen. And the closed concept kitchen for B1 actually does have a window as well. So strong plus points to me, right? But for B2, it's a little bit more standard 2-bedroom, 2-bath layout with the open concept, which will have its people who like it, right? Especially in this particular location in Bukit Timah, there's also a higher expat concentration in this particular location. So this is something that they enjoy, or even young couples, right? They don't really cook very often. So the enclosed kitchen might not appeal to them. They rather something that is open. Okay, so for bedroom 2, open concept kitchen, size-wise also similar 6, 7, 8, right? So these two will have their own appeals, but for me, personally, I'm inclining towards B1, right? We look at B3. B3, I would say, is my least favorite layout at 732 square feet because you have this long corridor at the entrance, which to some might be a wasted space. Secondly, they have an enclosed kitchen, but to me, it's a little bit smaller compared to B1, even though you're paying for 732 square feet of space. So looking at all the 3 different 2-bedroom layouts, to me personally, I would incline more towards type B1. Next, let's have a look at the 2-bedroom plus study layout. So the 2-bedroom plus study, they have 2 different configurations. I don't have the second one over here, but they're exactly identical, just mirror image of each other. Both of the 2 plus study to me are perfect layouts, right? This is B4, 764 square feet. I think super efficient in the use of space. Unfortunately for the 2-bedroom plus studies, they don't have an enclosed kitchen configuration, but the study area I think is very, very functional. You look at the study room space, it can even become a 3-bedder, right? So for those of you who have a little bit more of a limited budget, you can even position this 2 plus study as a super compact 3-bedder to smaller families who might just have a toddler, right? So 2 bedrooms would definitely suffice for them, right? The 3rd bedroom may just be there for their toddler, maybe it's a helper's room, therefore giving them some flexibility. Also, you will notice how they actually position the study room close to bedroom 2. So bedroom 2 could actually become the true master room with a walk-in wardrobe, which is the study area, and the current configuration where the master room is can become a junior master instead. So this is a very smart way the developer has planned, if you ask me. It gives a lot of flexibility because as an investor, you can either rent this out as 3 different rooms, or you could even potentially rent it out as 2 master bedrooms. Very, very, very flexible. I think this is something that is superb, especially since co-living is on the rise in the market today. Next, we look at the 3-bedroom layouts, right? This is the 3-bedroom compact to be specific, the C1 layout at 872 square feet, right? 872, I think this is a size we see very, very common, especially in new launches in the market today. I love it. Super compact layout, super efficient. You even have a utility room over here. And we notice for the 3-bedroom compact layout, right? The master bedroom, of course, ensuite, but bedroom 2 is also ensuite, which gives you that option to turn bedroom 2 into a junior master. All right, very, very efficient use of space. The main benefit for this compact 3-bedder compared to the 2 plus study, to me, would be the home shelter element. So there are some buyers in the market who maybe don't have an enormous budget. They need 3 physical bedrooms, right? Which the 2 plus study can actually provide. But they might also have a lot of barang, right? So using some local terminology here, they might have a lot of things, all right? They might have a lot of baggage that they need. So the utility space does act as some sort of a storeroom for them as well. Now let's look at the 3-bedroom premium layouts that they have, type C2 and type C3. Okay, so type C2 and C3, I would say the main difference that you want to take note of is the living room. So you can look at type C2, it has the conventional, I would say, portrait style living room. But type C3, it has the landscape style living room. So personally speaking, if you ask me, the wider the living room space, the larger it seems, even though it's the same size. But of course, in this particular case, the living room is definitely bigger. So doing resale viewings as well, right? You must understand next time you want to exit, when this is a resale property, the wider landscape living room will give the buyer a greater sense of space, which may give you an edge over the type C2 layout. So if budget allows, to me, go for the type C3 layout, because either way, you will have a utility in both cases. You have 3 physical bedrooms and you have a master room that's ensuite. The other 2 bedrooms, no ensuite. right? So everything is pretty similar if you ask me. Main difference is the living room. Given a choice, if you have the budget, go for type C3. Next, we look at the 3-bedroom plus study layout. So the 3-bedroom plus study layout builds upon that landscape living room that we just saw. Same thing over here, you have 3 physical bedrooms, but bedrooms 2 and 3, which are the common bedrooms, they actually have a toilet Jack and Jill style in the middle, which allows you to, same thing, have this junior master style. We also have a study room. As the developer has put in the layout, you can put a single bed there. So super efficient. You have a utility room, you have a wet and dry kitchen. This to me, if let's say you have the budget, right, to go for 3 plus study, I think this will be very, very appealing, especially to all those mansionette upgraders in the Toei estate just down the road. Right, so for those of you who are not familiar, there's an HDB estate called Toei in this Bukit Timah area. The HDBs there, very old, but still can command a few $1 million, right? But we must understand those people are very used to space. So this particular layout will probably appeal the most to them. If you have the budget, you already know who your potential exit audience can be. This is the layout for you. That being said, the floor plus study layout, which is the final floor plan that I'm going to be going through with you, I think it's a super efficient 4-bedroom configuration. You have a master room, you have a junior master. Same thing, the common bedrooms are side by side, Jack and Jill style to the toilet. So you have another variation of a potential second junior master you can have here. Study room area also very big, can become a helper's room. You can put a single bed, she can have shelves for herself. Wet and dry kitchen, utility. This is a super functional layout. If you ask me, I think it's compact size at only 1453 square feet, but super functional, super efficient. So to me, green light, it's a very good layout. Now we come to the numbers section, the pricing analysis using a past, present, future framework. So first, let's take a look at the Souza Avenue GLS land plot first. Based on the price the developer bought the land for, $278.9 million, or a PSF PPR of 841, we are talking about a potential break-even of around $1,709 PSF, which, based on a 15 to 20% markup, we are looking at a potential sale price of around $1,965 PSF, or upwards to even $2,358 PSF. So, what will be my anticipated price the developer will launch at? Very simply, I estimate it to be around 2,100 PSF to 2,200 PSF. Unfortunately, there isn't this effect of a prediction being made because the developer has already given the launch prices. And if we look at the launch prices, we can see that they are within the range that I already estimated. But hopefully, I can front run more videos, all right? I'm given more time now, all right? I'll try to make more videos for you so you can see how accurate this calculation that I do with the break-even price is and how it's going to be useful for your decision making, right? But for the sand, we can see that majority of the prices are going to be around the 2,200 plus minus range, which is exactly what I anticipated. So the biggest question that you're going to have in your heads is this a good price, right? So the only way to understand is we need to look at a pricing analysis. So first, let's look at some of the past prices, right? We have Verdale, the land plot that is just beside or very close by to where the sand is, right? 258 units for this particular development. Transacted prices at $2,088 PSF, or a price tag of $2.09 million. We have Forat also nearby, this time round a larger development. 3-bedroom over here, $2,373 PSF, or a price tag of $2.579 million. We have Daintree, the 3-bedroom over here, $2,005 PSF, or a price tag of $2.115 million. With the Creek at Bukit Timah, 3-bedroom over here, $1,898 PSF, or a price tag of $1.899 million. Bringing the average resale prices in this particular location to $2,091 PSF, or a price tag of $2.171 million. Next, let's have a look at some of the present prices. So this is where I'll analyze developments that just TOP or new launches currently selling in the market today. First, we have Linden Woods 3-bedroom over here, transacted at $2,469 PSF, or a price tag of $2.525 million. We have Bloomsbury Residences 3-bedroom over here, $2,415 PSF, or a price tag of $2.366 million. We have Elta, 3-bedroom over here, $2,821 PSF, or a price tag of $2.885 million. With the Hill at One North, transacted at $2,406 PSF, or a price tag of $2.357 million. We have Blossoms by the Park, $2,522 PSF transacted, or a price tag of $2.632 million, totaling the average of all present prices to a PSF of $2,527 PSF, or a price tag of $2.553 million. Now let's look at some future prices. So first, let's analyze some of the prime OCR land plots, because for the Souza Avenue, it is located in District 21, OCR, but to me, it is a prime OCR land plot in the Upper Bukit Timah area. So a similar location, but now in the northeast, we have Trung Grove GLS. Same thing over here, the potential sale price on the low end is already going to be $2,866 PSF. We have Bayshore Road, same thing over here, but also in the east, we are talking about a potential sale price in the future of $2,887 PSF. Both these plots of land will be sold next year in 2026. So this is something to bear in mind when deciding for the sand. And even when I look at OCR land plots that are just normal suburban areas, not prime at all, we have Chenchuru Close. This is located in the Khatib area in the north, right? If you don't know where Khatib is, that's exactly the point. It is so ulu. But yet, this integrated development in the Khatib area will potentially sell at the low end of $2,240 PSF. The land that the developer paid is already more than what Sustained Land paid for the sand. So that should start you thinking. We have Dairy Farm Walk GLS, this one also in the west side of Singapore in the suburban area. Based on the price the developer bought the land, they have to sell it at $2,267 PSF. And the land price the developer bought for Dairy Farm Walk is already more than what Sustained Land paid. So the question is, even though Sustained Land paid 21% higher than the second bidder, do you think it is a cheap or expensive price? To me, I think the answer is pretty obvious. So now we come to the segment where I share with you reasons why I will buy or will not buy the sand. So first, reasons why I will buy the sand. Now, this is a city fringe location, and if I work in the CBD area, it's going to be super convenient for me, right? If I'm someone who enjoys nature, I enjoy greenery views, then I think the sand being surrounded, right, where almost every other unit in the sand will get unblocked greenery views, I think this is a plus point, especially in a concrete jungle like in Singapore. Next, we also get to enjoy this Bukit Timah lifestyle without the hustle and bustle in the main core area. For the sand, right, it is located in the Bukit Timah area, but it's in the quieter part of Bukit Timah, right? Not the area where there's a lot of activity. So if I am someone who enjoys maybe the amenities and the convenience of the Bukit Timah area, but I don't want to be so close to the hustle and bustle, I think the sand creates a sweet spot for itself. Another reason is that the sand is nearby to an education belt. And what I mean by this is that why is Bukit Timah so popular, especially among families, is because you can stay in the same particular location throughout your children's education. We have primary schools over here, tertiary education over here, and even universities all nearby. And we are talking about the top schools. Also, the sand is located in a low-density environment, unlike other parts of Bukit Timah where it's almost a real concrete jungle, almost like the CBD area. And of course, how can I forget? The sand is a brand new development selling at resale prices or much cheaper than what similar counterparts are selling in the market today. Now we look at reasons why I will not buy the sand. So even though the sand is within the allocation belt zone, it is not within 1 km to any primary school, which means that if you are a parent looking to send your kids to any of the prestigious primary schools, this could be a minus point for you because not being in the 1 kilometer radius may affect your chances of sending your child into the school. Another reason why I will not buy the sand is because it is not within a short walking distance to any MRT station, and we know that majority of Singaporeans use the MRT to commute. So this may potentially become a minus point as well. Another reason is that the Jalan Jurong Kecil Road and also where the Souza Road is, they tend to be very crowded during peak hours. So that is the area that could potentially be a little bit of an annoyance staying over here. But that being said, in the overall picture, I do think that the sand is a good investment choice. But just because the sand is a good development choice doesn't mean every single property will be a good choice. There will be properties that outperform the rest. So this is something that you must take into account when making your purchase decision. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want someone to evaluate whether or not the sand will fit perfectly into your property portfolio, I'll leave my number on the screen over here, and you can contact me for a one-to-one consultation. Also, if you enjoyed the video and you felt that this type of content is going to help you in your purchase decision, do me a favor, like it, share it, and comment down below reasons why Bukit Timah is an attractive choice for you. This is Ian Teo, the top 1% Realtor, signing out.